Alright, what's up y'all, it's LakerFan here. As looks about how today's video, we're here to rank all 24 takeovers in NBA 2K23 in tiers, so I hope y'all enjoy. If you do, for to drop a like, sub if you're new, turn on noties, all good stuff, and like always, try to 2,000 likes. Now, you can see the color coding is based on where their categories are, so we have shot creator, sharp, playmaker, finishing, and then we have the defensive ones, the post ones, the rim protectors, and then the glass cleaners, all color coded. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go from bottom to top on this list. So I'm not gonna go F tier to E tier to D tier. I'm gonna go shot to sharp to play so that we can kind of gauge them amongst each other in just their own little divisions right here, and then also talk about the grand scheme of things when you can put the whole list together and just talk about it. So like I said, we're gonna just get right into this. I hope y'all enjoy. So without further ado, let's get straight into this. For the shot creator takeovers, a generally very high takeover tier list that we have here between all three of them as a category. You can see the lowest one we have is B tier, with 2 of them coming in, ankle breaking shots and negative impact. Then we have pull-up precision in the S tier. Now this S tier is reserved for very high level takeovers, and I gotta say I think pull-up precision is right there. So the issue with pull-up precision is that fades are already extremely good. Then on top of that, I have seen whites go in with this takeover active, whether it's my teammates, my boy AK has talked about it as well, he says he's seen it as well, and again I've seen it myself from just my career all the way to park to even pro-am. Pull-up precision is ridiculous in terms of allowing you to make more fades, and we all know, like I said, it's extremely good already. So that paired with the fact that fades are good is just a really S tier takeover if you ask me. And then shot creator just in general is very easy to get. You just fade your threes and boom, you get takeover faster. Same with just making threes in general. So moving along to that same category, we have ankle breaking shots and negative impact. Negative impact obviously allowing you to make contested shots a little bit better on fadeaway shots. Now I'm not gonna lie, I don't know whether this is the case for just standstill shots either. I don't believe that's the case, to be honest with you, but considering it's a shot creator takeover, I would assume it's mostly just fades. But this is also what we have comments for, so if you'd like to leave a comment talking about whether you think negative impact allows you to make standstill shots or not contested, feel free to let me know. But obviously the contested fading goes a long way as well. Paired with blinders really will go a long way, and then even obviously if you have Deadeye too. But regardless, the shot creator takeovers are just good in general. They all allow you to make fadeaway shots better, albeit while ankle breaking shots is the one that's supposed to help you make hop jumpers and spin jumpers, shot creator takeover in general is going to help you do stuff like that. Same with fading away. So pull-up precision, ankle breaking shots, they all at the end of the day kind of tie in together. It's just that ankle breaking shots is more toward the hop jumpers, spin jumpers, and on top of that too, can break your defenders as well. So I'm a pretty big fan of ankle breaking shots. The only problem is, from a competitive aspect, it's a very niche thing as far as the people who do hop jumpers, spin jumpers, stuff like that. Again, most people are probably just going to run pull-up precision or generally negative impact. I don't think a lot of people like the style of ankle breaking shots, but for the people that get real fancy and creative out there with either the fact that you want to break people, I think this allows you to even still break them on snatchbacks too. I definitely would vouch for that being the case. Again, you can leave that in the comments too. But ankle breaking shots, again tying into the hop jumper, spin jumpers, is more the niche style that really can be utilized in a high level, but you don't see it very often throughout the community. So we have those two coming in the B tiers, and then we have pull-up precision in the S. Moving along to the sharp takeovers, we have limitless range coming in also the S tier, and then we have spotted precision coming into the B tier as well. So spotted precision is kind of the same thing as pull-up precision, just obviously from a standstill point of view, and this once again allows you to make whites, which is a never before seen thing in 2K. It's a very big rarity, and these really do allow that to go down, and once again expands the green window, allows you to just make shots more in general. Where limitless range is also a sharp takeover that will still help you hit shots, but this one in a little bit less of a efficiency rate than spotted precision, but at the rate of expanding your range by ridiculous amounts. I mean, if you've seen this in action, you know, because literally, like, when dudes shoot from like 15 feet off the three-point line, as far as they can get it without taking a heave shot or anything like that, as long as they still stand still and shoot the ball, it's crazy, bro. Limitless range really goes hard. I think the general viewer would agree pretty heavily that limitless range is probably the best takeover in the game. The one downside to it though is if you're a little bit more of an ISO downhill sort of dude, where you're going to be just shooting standstill threes, maybe hop back threes from reasonable range, and then just rim running to the basket, which I don't mean that in a hating term, but I just mean for the downhill ISO players, limitless range may not be quite as effective, and maybe certain things like lock takeovers or slash takeovers are a little bit more convenient to you. But anyway, moving along to the playmaking category, we have them pretty much coming into the B tier, C tier area, where we have team badge boost as the highest, and then team takeover and team ratings as the C tiers. So we'll start from the bottom and go to the top between these. I want to first and foremost talk about team takeover boost though. This was one of my favorite takeovers in all of the game last year, for the reason of team takeover, the concept itself, was actually something that was achievable just for one person. So with that in mind, it becomes a very, very complicated description on this, but team takeover is obviously based on your teammate grade now, instead of the fact that one person can just go hard on their takeover bar and save it up for the whole team. So team takeover boost, what it does is it allows you to get someone on your team more takeover progress when you yourself have your takeover activated. Like I said, it's very complicated, but long story short, if you have this yourself, it'll help a teammate get theirs faster. But at the end of the day, does that matter that much anymore? Honestly, people can get their takeover very manageably on their own, and then on top of that too, the team takeover concept itself that was so cool about being able to do that for your team and allow your team to even get team takeover that would benefit you in the long term, it isn't there anymore. That just isn't a concept of this. So I'm not a huge fan of it anymore. It's still an okay takeover at the end of the day, but C tier, in my opinion, is right where it belongs. I don't think it's on the same tier as badge boost. And for team ratings boost, you could make the case that this maybe belongs in the B tier, but I still think badge is better. Now, this does vary, however. I will say team ratings boost can be much more utilized as a role player because it's a kind of passive boost that it gives to your teammates. So I already know people have already left your comment within the 2 minutes that I've talked about these takeovers, and you're talking about ratings is so much better than badge because I can be a lockdown in the corner and I can boost my point guard's ratings and my center's ratings by +4. Well, again, the point is, a point guard or someone that is distributing, whether this is 2s, 3s, pro-am, whatever the case may be, if you are a point guard, team badge boost is much better, if you ask me. Now, for role players and spot ups, I will say team rating boost definitely makes a lot more sense, because for team badge boost, you have to actually pass to someone to actually activate their badges. Now, this works in the same essence as dimer. So if you pass to someone, then they get a little catch and run to the hoop, you will still boost their post riser, slithery, frizz finisher, all types of stuff like that. And same with if you pass to them in the corner, their catch and shoot, claymore, like corner specialist, all types of stuff like that. Even Deadeye is getting boosted as well. And this stacks really heavily for people that have a lot of bronze, silver, and gold badges. At Hall of Fame level, obviously doesn't help anything, and people that don't have any badge like active, like if you have 0 badges, this badge does absolutely nothing for you. So I'm a bigger fan of team badge boost for the actual point guards out there. Team ratings boost can be a little bit utilizable as a spot up, but who's running play take as a spot up, really? Like, it's going to be a lot harder to activate. I found that passing is like the hardest way to activate your takeover in this year's game. Even if you double up on play take, you still don't get a lot of takeover progress compared to what you would get if you have like double shot and you're fading, or double sharp if you're shooting. Same with double finishing if you're dunking. So play take is a little bit harder to activate, and I don't see why a role player would really ever have it. Again, this is stackable though, I will say. So if you are someone that has team ratings boost, and then someone else on your team has team rating boost, and someone else has it, you'll literally be getting plus 12s, which is pretty crazy. I'm just saying though, I don't think it's the greatest utilization as a spot up or a role player, and I think it's a little bit of a waste to be running as a point guard if you ask me. Alright, so next up we have probably our biggest variance of any of the takeovers. We have one coming in at the A, one at the C, and one at the E for the finishing. So advanced gathers, I'm not a huge fan of at all. This is pretty much just going to help you with euros, hops, spins, whatever the case may be, but the truth is that I feel like finishing moves and just slash take in general does help you with that anyway. So I'm not a huge fan of advanced gathers. We'll just not really talk about it too much because I just think it's a waste of a takeover. Anything that's going to be like D tier and below, in my opinion, really is just a waste of a takeover. Anything C tier and above, probably pretty usable, and I would say the A tier, S tier are really the great ones that generally you're going to have at least one per category for each of your takeover options. But anyway, to move on to an easy blowbys, this is going to be something that I would actually pair with maybe more shooting builds. So for instance, let's talk about some of the stage heads out there. My boy AK coming out there with sharp primary and then slash secondary. I think easy blowbys is a definitely decent secondary for people that do a little bit of rim running to be able to get your sharp takeover faster. And then for that matter too, it's still a very good pair for people that maybe don't do a lot of contact dunking, but if it activates through just team takeover or something like that, and now you have double take, or you just get double take in general, easy blowbys paired with shooting is pretty crazy. I mean, we all know if you guard their 3-2 tight, they're going to rim run you super hard, and easy blowbys may even contribute to that as well. But in general, I don't think it's a very good takeover. I think it's a little bit of a waste. It's just that one situation I'm talking about where you pair it with a shooting takeover and you make this your secondary. It's reasonable, at least. Lastly, for the finishing, we have finishing moves. This is one of my favorite takeovers. I probably use this for 90% of the games that I play, but albeit I'm a 25 3-point shooting build that doesn't really shoot the ball at all. Or obviously I have different builds, but I'm just talking about the main build that I use the majority of the time. This is the takeover I use in my primary slot nearly every time because it makes that contact dunk meter gigantic. It's so much of an enhancement when it comes to your dunking game. Same with allows you to beat people on euros, spins, hops, all types of stuff like that way better. I think that's just slash take in general though, to be honest, because obviously advanced gathers does that at a more extreme rate. But finishing moves in general is crazy. Not to mention you could still utilize this for actually like catching contact alley-oops too, because it does like glide you into those more as well. So finishing moves really good for the apps like real dunking builds out there. But obviously for some people you're probably a little bit more toward like just doubling up on sharp take and just getting your quick drops and rim runs, and you don't really need a finishing takeover to utilize that. But my bias may be speaking to this a little bit because I see the power of it and I see how dependent my build truly is on finishing moves. And if you're just a slasher in general that does a lot of contact dunk meter, this helps you so much with the dunk meter. It enhances it by unbelievable bounds. All right, next up we have the lock takeovers. We're gonna have perimeter badge drop coming in at the highest. We have extreme clamps slightly below it and then slightly below that, as well as enhanced jump shot contest. So we have C tier, B tier, A tier, pretty even spread. I think they're all pretty respectable, enhanced jump shot contest being the least respectable of them and just least reasonable to run, to be honest. Jump shot contesting is already good enough in this year's game, and I don't really feel like this enhances the jump shot contesting ability by unbelievable amounts that it's really even worth running, to the point where extreme clamps gets pretty solid cutoffs. I think just in general it makes you really solid when it comes to just like lateral movement, and in general, like I said, force pickups, body ups, all types of stuff like that. This can also set you up for good steal attempts as well, because when people can't dribble where they want to and you can maybe stall them out a little bit, it leads to more bump steals, maybe more animations that you can get pluck steals, because now they have to try and get away from you because they're at a complete stop and yet you're right in their face. So extreme clamps definitely solid. I think I'm a pretty big fan of it, but what I think I'm a bigger fan of is perimeter badge drop, because lock take in general is still really good. I mean, it has so many ratings boosts. We didn't even talk about that as far as the reasoning behind these. So let's just kind of backtrack just a little bit. I've made a video every year showcasing the attributes that get boosted when you're on takeover for each one of them. Slash and lock give by far the best attribute boost for any takeover. They give so many physicals, so many things that correlate to their actual thing, between perimeter defense, obviously like your jump shot contesting ability when it comes to that. With lock take you also get speed, acceleration, which for that matter too, some point guards out there who are two-way PGs may even want to run primary lock take because it will boost your acceleration, which is tied to your dribbling as well. But between that, you have acceleration, perimeter defense, steal, like speed, all types of stuff like this, vertical, strength. For finishing, you have all those things included between the physicals like speed, excel. Obviously you have even ball handle too gets boosted, and then you have vertical, strength. You also get close shot, driving layup, driving dunk, and standing dunk. It's unbelievable how good these ratings, like the rating boosts, are between finishing and defense, but that's obviously something that I'm not really putting into account too much here, but it is definitely something to think about. But anyway, perimeter badge drop, obviously when you are running this as a lockdown, you have that Hall of Fame glove or something like that, bro, and you're running prim badge drop, they are going to have to pass the ball away from you, because most people don't have Hall of Fame applicable, and even if they do, they're getting to drop down to gold. But gold is like doable, it's like okay, but then like silver and bronze on unpluckable is just kind of bad, to be honest. And when you prim badge drop their gold unpluckable down to silver and you have Hall of Fame glove and 99 steal, you better believe you are absolutely getting a lot of plucks with this on. Not to mention maybe menace is on or something like that too, and you're dropping their like ball handle rating by 4 or something like that. It all adds up, but I'm not a huge fan of menace in the first place. But anyway, my whole point here is that I think this is a crazy takeover. It's really good. I obviously have an A tier for a reason. I don't think it's on the same like dominance factor of pull-up precision and limitless range, but you can maybe make the case for it, to be honest. I think in my situation you can make the case for finishing moves being S tier too. It's just, it all depends on the person, obviously, and I'm trying to talk about just the badge's power. So prim badge drop is where I think it's like in the A tier power. It's really high A tier. I don't think it's like really worse than any of the other ones that are in here. All right, so we actually have to shrink some of these texts because this is going to need a lot of moving around. We have so many B tiers in this video, but nonetheless, we have the post takeovers, advanced post moves, post shot daggers, power backdowns, and post playmaking. Now I have power backdowns and post playmaking very low for the reason of I think they're very underpowered from a takeover perspective. I'm not a huge fan of it. Post takeover in general is pretty good, just like base, right? I think just in general, post takeover is pretty nice. It gives you better drop steps, better post spins, a lot, obviously enhances your post hooking ability. Just in general, you could like literally run post playmaking, it'll do all that, but not an elite level. Whereas, obviously running advanced post moves and post shot daggers is crazy, because for advanced post moves, it will kill people on post spins, and when it kills people on the post spins, it makes it so they have to play completely off of you, and then it opens up your post hooks and post fades even more because they can't body you up, or else they will get dominated by a post spin. Not to mention, obviously, the enhancement of the drop steps. With post takeover, you also have the ability to just pump fake down low, and it'll literally push the guy. I mean, that's another crazy addition too. I believe glass tape maybe does that as well, but nonetheless, post shot daggers will also enhance your post hooking, post fading ability. When you're pairing with another rebounding build or something like that, whether it's pro-am or twos, anything like that, or just in general to help your post hooks go in, it is pretty crazy. So I'm not a huge fan of ranking these extremely high, because we all know for 1v1 court, it's obviously an S tier takeover. When it comes to twos, it goes a little bit lower. When it comes to threes, it becomes significantly lower. I'm talking probably like C tier or something like that. And then obviously for pro-am, probably more around the B tier. So I try and ration all those things out, because the post style is so much better the less people there are on the court. Yet at the same time, the efficiency of the basket is still there kind of for 5v5, because you don't just hate taking 2-point shots or anything like that. 3v3 is a little bit more 3-hunt dominated, but not always in this game. I think defense is so good to the point where that doesn't even have to be the case. But nonetheless, these are by far the two best post takeovers in the game. You can maybe make the case for post shot daggers being an A tier, just for maybe the style that there's people that do spam the hooks and stuff like that. But either way, I do believe they still belong in the B. I don't think they're in the same category as the ones up here. Back to the bottom, we have power backdowns and post playmaking. Post playmaking obviously going to be helping you as far as passing out of the post, and essentially an extra dimer. What an L takeover. I mean, that's just such a stupid concept. I don't really like it. We'll also talk about at the very top right here, glass clearing dimes will definitely be down here toward the bottom with them as well. But when it comes to passing, I really think, like, obviously a playmaker takeover boost is just nice. Like, off play take, you're going to make the shot even more. Then to add to the fact of, like, team badge boost will enhance all their badges or something like that. Or team ratings boost may just help them in general to make the shot because the three-point is being boosted. Post playmaking is just kind of a facade sort of thing. And not to mention, just a really dut takeover in general, just as a concept. Now, what I will say to make a case for this is maybe off of what I said earlier, how it does, like, post take just in general, no matter which one it is, already enhances your drop steps, post spins, and post hooks, all types of stuff like that. And at the same time, you can get a passing boost enhancement out of it. I think the rare situation this would benefit somebody is maybe 2v2, very specifically, and if you pair with a shooting build, one that's spotting up and you're just the big man or something like that. So you come in there with a lock and a post. If you run post playmaking and you're already confident enough in your post like ability without takeover anyway, you can maybe get some of those enhanced drop steps and post spins anyway. And then when they start doubling you or sending help, then you get those heaters thrown over there and they just make a ton of shots. But I'm still not a very big fan of it. I still think just in general to run something else for post takers would be a good idea. But either way, it's up to you. I mean, if it's an E tier for my list and you happen to be good with it, more power to you. That's just, you know, your own credibility as well. But either way, power backdowns, again, kind of a bad takeover if you ask me. I mean, there's literally a badge that does these type of things. Like, there's post playmaker that literally is a badge that does what this is supposed to do. And then there is literally backdown punisher, which is literally what this takeover is supposed to do. So I'm not a huge fan of when takeovers are literally built around literally just doing something that a badge is supposed to, albeit we obviously have two badges in the S tier that are literally tied to a badge that's the exact same thing as the takeover title. Limitless range is literally a badge title and a takeover title. And then for pull-up precision, we obviously have Agent 3 that is pretty in correlation with this. But either way, these are obviously like miles ahead when it comes to these two right here. So in revision and just recap of talking about the post takeovers, I think, like I said, these are pretty underpowered ones down here. And then obviously these two up here, very good for the styles that you have. Whether you're literally just someone that does spins and drop steps, or use the spins to open up your post fades, post hooks, stuff like that. Or with the post shot daggers, if you're an outside post score oriented player and you can do a lot of fades, hops, hooks, stuff like that. It's a very nice enhancement. So I think these are definitely the top tier takeovers when it comes to the post. Alright, so like I told you guys, we have to shrink some of these texts down because you can see there's the B tiers get filled up. So we have the rim takes right here, stuff blocks, paint intimidation, both coming into the B tier. Then we have interior badge drop down in the D by itself. This right here, I'm just not a huge fan of. I don't think dropping someone badge levels for finishing is really the ideal aspect. When it comes to defending the paint, You either want to get the good shot contest, which is what paint intimidation obviously correlates with, and can allow you to defend mashing or just in general stop people from dunking pretty well. Stuff blocks allows you to like get really good chase down opportunities, snatch blocks on top of that too. Just in general, I think these two are so much better, just clearly, because they give you little perks that are just added on top of rim take. Now, just in general, rim take does not give you very many attribute boosts at all. I'm not a huge fan of rim take just in general, but when I run into people with it, it really does irritate me. The problem is there's so many people that are like I said, the 3 hunt into quick drop type builds in this game, or just 3 hunt into drive by, blow by, rim run, whatever you want to call it. In which case stuff blocks definitely benefits off of. Now for rec center, pro-am type stuff, I really do think paint intimidation is the better one. In terms of just getting more contests down low, being harder to dunk on in general too. I think obviously with rim take, that's kind of a given though. You can't really be dunked on very well. If you are, you need to take a couple steps out the paint and meet that person who is coming at you and dunking. It really is crazy that I see so many people sit right underneath the rim and think that they can just be Dikembe Mutombo down there. I understand maybe you have 99 block and Hall of Fame anchor and rim take active, but you're just asking to get animated in some 2K stuff where you can just get, like, the dude can already get put into a dunk animation, and then at that point you have to just rely on your blocking ability. If you take a couple steps out the paint, they can't even get put in that dunk animation. I promise you, I've seen it myself. Like, I have to use my dunk meter to do stuff like that, and even when that's the case, I can't imagine being a person that's using their X button trying to do stuff like that. And when you come out further, it's a very intimidating factor when it comes to trying to like stop someone's dunk. So that's my interpretation on that. I think we already gave a pretty good rundown on stuff blocks and paint intimidation, the difference between the two of them. And again, badge drop for the interior, I'm not a huge fan, because the whole point of perimeter badge drop is that you're dropping their unpluckable. It's a pretty far-fetched thing that's the only reason I have this up here, but it still goes a long way. Not to mention you still drop their, like, you know, dead eye, all types of stuff like that, handles for days, obviously quick first step. The case goes on and on. It really is a pain for a lot of people. Interior badge drop, what are you dropping in terms of important finishing badges besides a slasher type build? And even at that, they can still dunk the ball. You can be a build in this game that literally only has limitless takeoff and nothing else, and you can still live off those quick drops and just dunks because people can shoot. So I'm not a huge fan of interior badge drop. Things like masher and fast switch, they don't matter really, if I'm being completely honest. So not a huge fan of them. Alright, so to wrap up our list, as we finally find a small little spot to put See the Future in, I have boxout wall as the best glass cleaning takeover. We have See the Future popping up in the B tier, and then we have glass clearing dimes down in the D. So glass clearing dimes, unfortunately, is literally just for throwing out like outlet passes, fast breaks, all types of stuff like that. You can also grab offensive rebounds and kick out to your teammates, but once again, post playmaker literally does that already. And just in general, a pretty overrated takeover. I would never run this as a glass take. The only situation I would maybe advocate for this for is in the rec, where you're just grabbing boards on these absolute like trash cans of bigs, and maybe you're a dude that's grabbing like 30 defensive rebounds a game or something like that, or you grab a lot of offensive rebounds and you're kicking out your teammates. Obviously, I just think what a stupid takeover to ever run. Like, literally, there are takeovers that are currently helping your teammates make shots no matter what the pass is. Like, think about it. If you grab an offensive rebound, let's just make a case for like a 6'11 center that somehow has playmaker takeover and you have really high rebound ratings. I know it's pretty far-fetched to think about, but let's just do that, all right? If you have team badge boost on, not only when you grab a rebound are you kicking out to a teammate and you're boosting their badges crazy, it's still playmaker takeover, and it doesn't even have to be off a rebound. It can literally just be anywhere in the like vicinity of the court. You could be on a like literally just a pick and roll into just kicking out to a teammate in the corner. And team badge boost is working 15 times better than glass clearing dimes would. The only case to be made for this, in my opinion, is literally just the enhanced outlet passes. But even at that, there are plenty of things that can enhance your ability to do so, like break starter, just a higher pass accuracy in general. I think glass clearing dimes is just like overrated as far as a takeover, and that's saying something because I don't think people rate it even that high in the first place. But D tier is right where it belongs for me, if you ask me. Interior badge drop is his best friend. I mean, they're both like, you can feel the power of them just in this D tier. It's not as good as the ones in the C, and that's saying something because the ones in the C aren't even that great either. But the B and up is really where you see a lot of very viable and good takeovers. And then I have, obviously, as you can see, 5 in the S and A that I believe are just the best in their categories. What's missing here is obviously a rim take and a post take are not even in the A tier or S tier, and then obviously a playmaker as well. So play, rim, and post I have capping out at the B tiers. And just to kind of come back and talk about the glass takeovers because I'm getting off topic, we already talked about glass clearing dimes. See the Future, we all know if you have this on, it's going to pop up an icon where you can find the ball as far as where the rebound is going to track to. For very fast, agile builds for rebounding, I think this is a pretty solid thing. I would more so say, though, if you don't have box out beast on a high level, see the future is pretty solid. Because me personally, running box out wall paired with box out beast on Hall of Fame as well, that goes so hard because both of these contribute to worm and better box outs as well. So it's kind of a, in general, glass take is obviously two sides of the court takeover. It works for both offense and defense. And then on top of that too, when it has box out wall where it helps your box outs and your worms, and in general just tracking down rebounds, it's really a good takeover. I think box out wall is probably the best one you can run as a big man personally, but again, you have to be a very heavy offensive crasher if you ask me. I think to be able to worm people is more of an offensive rebounding thing because the defense has the beat on you when it comes to being able to get position. Obviously, a defensive player is sitting between you and the basket, and when that's the case, it's obviously harder to get around that box out because they have the positioning on you. So box out wall helps you in that situation, but in general, like I said, it still enhances your box outs. I know it's a little bit of a tongue twister because we just said that. But listen, man, long story short, it helps your box outs, it helps your worms, it helps you track down rebounds in general. And see the future is a cool perk though, however, where you don't really get this with anything else. But box out wall definitely enhances them worms and boxes. I think it's really, really good. So anyway, that's the takeover tier list. I hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, for drop a like, sub if you're new to them noties, all good stuff. Like always, tries 1 to 2,000 likes. I know this is probably a longer video too. We have 24 different things to rank in this video, so it's definitely a long one. I hope y'all enjoyed though, and let me know if you enjoyed this little sort of graphic as far as grouping everything together and then talking about each one of the takeover styles or divisions, I called them, at a time. So like for instance, talking about the shot creators together, then the sharps, then like obviously the playmaker, and then the finishing, stuff like that. You guys get what I'm saying. Let me know if you enjoyed that or if you would rather see me just kind of in the next one rank them where I have post playmaking and then advanced gathers, power backdowns down here to the bottom because they're ranked in the E tier, and then we'll just like kind of talk about the worst ones and go to the top for the best, because obviously we gave away the S tiers like early in the video. So I don't know if people don't like that. They don't like the spoilers, so to say, but I kind of do these more for an informational purpose rather than entertainment, so to say. But I do like to keep you guys engaged and give you easy keys to see, like for instance, all the finishing together by color coding it, and just in general to talk about them one at a time so I can kind of rank them against each other, to talk about the reason behind running finishing moves instead of easy blowbys, instead of advanced gathers, or to talk about how pull-up precision is much better than ankle breaking shots and negative impact. But then to review all this, and you can see shot creator takeovers are very good. Like the bottom ones are in the B tier, where in my opinion the best playmaking and the best rim protecting ones are in the B tier too. So the worst shots are as good as the best play and the best rims. But anyway, that's all video. Feel free to leave your feedback as well. Let me know if you disagree with anything on the list, respectfully. And other than that, if you made it to the end of the video and you want to show your support that you did watch the whole thing, put take in the comments, show support to me all the way through. But anyway, that's all for video. Last thing I can think of to tier list as far as any of these badges and stuff like that, I have an idea as far as the best ratings. I want to put the ratings in a tier list and talk about what's the most important between like 3-point, dunk, steal, all types of stuff like that. Rank what is the most important attribute, even speed, stamina, everything, literally from top to bottom. But I'll probably save that for a little bit. We've been spamming the tier list stuff over like super hard, so I got a lot of gameplay stuff I want to show you guys of the new season, and we'll maybe get to that a little bit later. But anyway, that's all for video. Hope you all enjoyed. None of that. Take it easy, man. Peace.